Hey guys, how's it going? In a previous video, we started talking about our vampire lore. And in case you're new here, I just wanted to give a quick recap of some of what we discussed in that video so that you're not lost. And if you don't feel like going back to check out the video, which will be linked at the end of this video, you won't have to. You can just follow along. So, in our vampire lore, if you have a personal relationship with and or they care for you and or they love you, your victims, and I guess they're not victims if they care for you and it's all willing. Anyway, in our vampire magic system, we believe that there's magic in being a vampire. Therefore, intent matters. So, in this magic system, we've determined people who love you, people who are close to you, people who care for you, their blood makes you stronger, faster, better as a vampire, right? So our bad guy figured this out and was just making women fall in love with him and then ending them. So he was, vampire serial killer. I don't know, that seems redundant because vampire serial killer. Anyway, that's the important bit. You know what? I'm just going to include like a little minute sound clip from our previous video so that you're all caught up. And then we'll get into our new story. It's set up like a vampire romance. They're falling in love. Everything is wonderful. He's a vampire. She's not a vampire. They fall in love. They're going about their romantic business and it's time to change her. But instead of turning her, he just drains her dry and drops her to the ground and is like, you'll be with me forever, but I'm going to do what I want to do. He leaves her there, assuming that's it. Maybe there's a magic system involved where like your donor has to be willing, and the more willing and emotional or in love with you they are, like the more strength or power you get from the blood. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Anyway, moving on. So she's done for, so he thinks. He goes about his life. It's been hundreds of years, and maybe he actually does fall in love with a human. He's doing his thing, and originally her plan, because she's alive, remember, somehow she was saved. We don't know how. We'll find out later. She decides she's going to get rid of her, the woman that he's in love with, and make him watch because he's actually in love with. Anyway, so she starts stalking them. She pays a lot of attention. And then she starts to realize that maybe she's in love with his girlfriend, right? She approaches the girlfriend, tells her what happened, finds out with evidence, like hundreds of lifetimes, he has regularly made women fall in love with him, drained them of their life, and then moved on. And while he may or may not actually love her, she is no longer interested. She cannot love somebody who has just taken the life of so many women that he made love him. So the two of them, they fall in love, right? And they become a thing, and she changes her. I mean, I guess they don't have to fall in love. They could just be friends, but it'd be kind of nice if they fell in love, wouldn't it? That's kind of beautiful. And then they spend the rest of their existence following him, tormenting him, and eventually get rid of him. How did she become a vampire? Is there some other magic at play? Is there some other way to be a vampire? We can make our own lore. Who says we can't make our own lore? Every writer makes their own lore. Maybe she came across his blood. Maybe she licked an envelope that, I don't know, he got a paper cut on. Do vampires get paper cuts? I don't know. Let's say, for the sake of this explanation, that he got a paper cut and she went to go close an envelope and licked it, right? And maybe that's the night that he decides to drain her. Maybe that's how she got turned. I don't know. We got to work on this. So in the last vampire romance video, thanks to some of your comments, I think we've decided to stick with the idea that maybe she was the very first girlfriend that he tried to end, and maybe it happened on accident, mostly because as he was, feeding her, thinking, it's better than being alone, he realized how strong it was making him, and his mind just kind of worked fast enough to figure out it might be because she loved him. And then he spent the next however many years testing that theory on lots and lots of vulnerable young women. I like the idea that she bit him really hard, right? Like trying to fight back. It's like maybe he really did intend to change her, but as he was drinking, he kind of felt like this zing of power. And I think maybe something was going through his head when he was draining her. Maybe he was like, oh man, if I'm in like this long-term relationship with another vampire, how am I going to like have relationships with other people and get this kind of surge of power? Like maybe he was just a deeply, I don't know, selfish person, and because he's a vampire, his brain can go a mile a minute. Who knows? I don't know. So in this particular painting, we're going to be kind of working out the story of another one of his victims. I haven't decided if this is the girlfriend mentioned in the last video or not. You guys help me figure that out. Also, we need to come up with names. We need to come up with a few names. If you have name ideas, please let me know. All I keep thinking back to is Celine from Underworld, and like we can't do that. She's vampire Celine Underwood. Anyway, so help me come up with names, both for the original vampire and for this lovely lady here. So I'm thinking this woman, who is as of yet nameless, I'm thinking that maybe she's like a more recent victim of his. Obviously, she'd have to be if she ended up being the girlfriend, but I think that maybe he's starting to get sloppy, right? Like maybe she was aware that something was a little bit off with him and he wasn't being as careful, like dating her. Like maybe he was half in, half out anyway. And so he wasn't really paying attention to the fact that maybe she didn't actually like love him. She was kind of put off by him. I'm thinking that like if this is the girlfriend, it has to seem like he's actually into her and wants to change her and like keep her around, right? Because that was the idea in the last thing. Although we could edit it and make it so that that's not necessarily a thing. Maybe she was just trying to get to all of his victims first. Who knows? We'll figure it out. Let me know what you think. So I'm thinking that this woman is like maybe like a nursing student or something, right? Like she looks very put together. I originally had a different idea for this character, but the way she came together makes me feel like she's very competent. She thinks through like her decisions. And so it's kind of like, how did she end up with this guy? Like this guy's obviously going to be a skimmer. Like typically he goes after girls maybe a little bit more naive, a little bit younger, and she's very put together. But what if, and again, remember, we're going with like a potential sapphic vampire romance. So, and also we don't know if she's the girlfriend yet. We have to figure that out. We don't know. So maybe she's like a closet lesbian or something, right? Maybe she's been asexual up to this point. Maybe she's one of those people who just falls in love with people and gender is not really a thing. And maybe like she's super close to her mom, and her mom, while being a lovely woman who also loves her, is one of those women that thinks that like life is not complete until you're married. So she keeps trying to set her daughter up with all of these people, and then she ends up setting her up with this guy. By the way, maybe our bad guy vampire, we have to name him too. I can't just keep saying bad guy vampire and this girl and that girl. Help me think of names. Let me know what you think. So maybe bad guy vampire is a doctor or pretending to be a doctor. It could be either, really. So maybe bad guy vampire is a doctor, and like her mom is really wanting her to keep dating bad guy vampire, and she's not really sure she feels it. She's not had like a lot of emotional connection with people. She's one of those people that like struggles with connecting to people. And maybe she's considering like, oh, if I can just make my mom happy. Like he doesn't really seem that focused on me, but he seems to be getting serious. So like maybe we could pretend that we love each other and it'll make my mom happy and I can get her off my back and we can both focus on our careers, right? So like maybe that's why she's sticking around, but then she starts to feel ooged out and she's like, maybe I should break up with him. Like, I don't know, I'm starting to get something that's off. And her mom's like, oh, come on, he's a doctor. Just give him a chance. I need to see my daughter married before I die, because you know how moms are. So, well, some moms, not all moms. My mom's not like that. But lots of people's moms are like that. Anyway, moving on. So, maybe her mom's like, come on, just one more, just go out with him. And so she's going out with him with the actual intent to like break up with him because she thinks he's creep number one. And like at some point on the date, she decides for sure, maybe he does something just super ridiculous. Maybe he's like checking out other women. Maybe, I don't know. Help me figure it out. What's the thing that tips her off during their like final date that maybe something's off? And maybe in his mind, he's like, I've definitely got this chick in the bag, just like all the others. And so he's like getting a little impatient. Maybe he's realized that girl number one has been stalking him, but he doesn't know who it is, because remember, he doesn't know she's alive, right? He doesn't know that she made it. So maybe like he's realized somebody's stalking him and keeping tabs on him, and he's starting to get nervous. So he's trying to get a power up, right? So maybe he's getting a little impatient. And so he's like, you know what? This chick, I could definitely, she likes me. It's better than nothing, right? Like, I don't know, let's just do it. So maybe he's getting impatient because he knows he's being stalked. And so he decides this is the night, right? And he's like, I'm going to fill up my tank so that I can get a boost up and try and get away from whoever this is that's following me and starting to mess with me. Maybe she's leaving him cryptic messages. I really don't love that girl number one, not girl number two. I really don't love that maybe she's obsessed with him, but I kind of feel like it needs to happen. It feels right in this story, doesn't it? Like she's kind of following him around and trying to figure out how to ruin his life. Maybe along the way she's collected all of his mishaps, right? Like that's how the Sapphic Vampire Coven gets like put together, is they're all so deeply broken by this dude that like they're like, no more men, or like maybe not men right now because I have to get over my trauma, and so I've got to spend a lot of time figuring my stuff out, so I'm mostly interested in women right now. We'll figure it out. That doesn't have to be a right now thing. Anyway, so he decides that he's like, this is the night. This is the night I'm going to take her, and then I'm going to flee for a little while, and I'm going to go underground, right? And so he decides to like take her out to this park, and he's like, that's it, I'm going to drain her. And she fights too. And it's like he's draining her and she's fighting, and he's like, what is with this chick? I thought that she was like super into me. She's not. And as he's draining her, he's starting to realize that like, oh, she doesn't like me at all. So he's not getting like that power kick that he was like really looking forward to. And maybe he kind of looks up and he sees number one and maybe like a few of his other past victims, and they're just hanging out in the distance, right? And like he can see them coming, and like maybe they have some idea that this chick's really not into them, right? Because I don't know, they've been stalking him for a long time. They're really good at stalking and stuff, so they know stuff about her too, right? So okay, so he looks up and he kind of sees her, and then a few other people show up behind him, and that's when he realizes that she's been coming for him the whole time, right? And he panics and he's like, I'm not getting the power up. There's a ton of them. I don't even know who these people are. And so he freaks out, drops her, and runs. So she's like halfway emptied, right? And she's at the point where like of no return. So our lady number one comes in and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna, like, she talks to her and she's like, hey, this is the thing. This is what happened to you. Like, do you want me to save you? Because she's still conscious, right? And she is like, heck yes, save me. Forget that guy. She's like really into life. Is vampirism considered life here? I don't know. I haven't decided on that. What do you think? Should they have heartbeat? Should it be alive, or should it be like an undead thing? I kind of like the horror-y undead thing myself. So like maybe we'll go with the horror-y undead thing. Anyway, she doesn't want to be completely gone. She doesn't want things to be over. So like she's really into being alive. So she's like, yeah, save me. And that's how she gets made, is that like maybe he drains her, but girl number one comes in and is like, I'm going to save you, and then we'll figure this out together. And that's how she gets changed. And maybe that's like the start of their romance. Maybe it will be the girlfriend, because I really like the idea of the girlfriend being like a super competent, put together person instead of like a really maybe kind of immature, ditzy young girl who didn't really know what was going on. That makes more sense to me. Also, maybe the new girlfriend is like, why are you spending all your time following around this guy? Doesn't that mean like he wins? Because like your whole life has been about chasing this dude, right? And maybe girl number one is like, it's not just that. Like I have to save the people. Like I do my best to save the girls that he has decided aren't worth like being around anymore, right? And so like maybe it's a larger idea. And then maybe the no girl's like, then why are we allowing him to be a scourge on this earth? Like why don't we stop it here? Because she gets stuff done, right? She's like, she was in nursing school. She was getting stuff done. Maybe that's what happened. Okay, so when she changes girlfriend, number two, obviously there are people in between, so she's not really number two. She's more like number 8 or 9 or something like that, right? Girlfriend, we'll call her girlfriend until she has a name. Please give me name ideas. I'd love to hear name ideas. Girlfriend becomes a vampire, and she's like, let's change stuff up. Let's make sure this never happens to another one of us again. And that's how they start their little adventures to like track him down and stop him in his tracks. Maybe he's really sneaky. He's gotten very good at being sneaky because he's been stalked this whole time, and he kind of had an idea he was being stalked. Or maybe it's like, yeah, I don't know, vampire magical powers. We write our own lore, right? That can be part of our own lore. Maybe his thing is like disappearing. Maybe he's really good at that. Anyways, let me know what you think of this story. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. I think I'm going to start working on some other ladies from our Coven of Vampires, and maybe trying to figure out what their stories are. Maybe let's try and figure out like how they ended up under his thumb, right? How they ended up in the clutches of this terrible vampire romance that ended with their demise. Anyways, I hope you liked this video. I had a lot of fun making it. If you liked it, please subscribe, like the video. I'd love to see you here again, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, guys.